It's not just the answers, not just the quotes. It's life in the margins. It's time for Cluffs Notes.
Alignment.
I guess what's helped me build confidence over time in situations like that fire, it has had a lot to do with intentional reflection. It started with journaling, then sketching. Now, most often, it's voice memos. That's where actually most of my thinking lives. I lost both my grandfathers when I was young. And I guess over my life, I've realized how much I wish I knew more about their lives. And years ago, when Jasper, my grandson, was born, I started recording voice memos to him. I'd speak to him as though he was older, and I'd share stories from my life, my thoughts, values, lessons that I've learned, things I honestly wish I had from my grandfathers. But as I spent time recording as I was driving to and from work, something else happened. And maybe it was because I was talking to someone, even though he couldn't respond. My thinking changed. Having that focus, that sense of a listener, it helped me process in a way that journaling never quite did. Quickly, I found it carried over. I started using voice memos not just to record things, but to think out loud, to process my day, to talk about decisions, to speak as though I was talking to a colleague or a mentor, and it became a really powerful tool. It was like journaling, but it was faster, it was more fluid, it was more connected. And when I talked things out, something would happen. Clarity would often start to emerge. Sometimes I'd hear myself saying something and then immediately say, "Yes, that's it. That's what I think."
Looking back.
Now, for a long time, I never would even go back and visit any of the reflections I had generated. The journals, the sketches, the voice memos, they were just tools for those moments. But more recently, I've started revisiting them just a little, looking back at something specific. And when I do, I get to notice something. I can see the shifts. I can see how my thinking has connected and distilled over time. It's refined. All across leadership, parenting, and life, I keep seeing something clearly. The hardest parts were not really the decisions. The hardest part was those feelings of being alone when I had to make them. Those moments when I didn't yet have enough perspective, but I still had to move.
What I'm learning.
So now I'm learning to purposefully create more space. I slow things down. I move more intentionally into reflection. And honestly, often that's enough. But sometimes it isn't. Sometimes my reflection has a need for more than just maybe my own internal processing. Sometimes it's the energy and the dynamic of thinking with others, a mirror, different angle, more viewpoints. That's what I needed in that would you rather choice. Because when I don't have that, I feel it, that tension. And I suppose that's what this story is all about. It's not an effort to try to convince you of anything. I'm really just trying to articulate how I've been learning to create what I need the most, when I need it the most. Perspective. I'm finding ways now for me not to have to think alone, especially when it matters most.
Another reel for the shelf.